Right. Something a little different. This one here is a kind of a custom made emblem. The only people that will recognize what vehicle it came off of is the ones that actually own one. I won't spoil that, but it's actually 3 separate castings, and it's been soldered together, so we're going to take them apart and cast the 3 separate pieces and then put them back together. Looks like just a little solder on it. Probably will take a second or two. There's our one piece. I know that's going to be hot. Yeah. I'm not sure what this is holding this other one together. Oh, that's going to stink. That's what that is. That's called stink. There's our other piece. There we go. Okay. Let them cool a little bit and we'll get on to making some molds. Okay, I'm going to run through this kind of quick and try not to get my hand in the way this time. But here's the 3 separate pieces that we're working on. And what I wanted to show is that this one here is actually an interesting piece to try and inject wax into. If you take and try and inject it into the rim, what's going to happen is the wax is going to take and fill this rim up without flowing through the wire mesh inside, and it'll basically trap all the air in there. So what we're going to wind up doing when we make the mold is we're going to use a horn gate and get our wax injection point more towards the center of this piece. That way the wax can flow into the middle and then flow out to the outer rim and push the air out and make it a lot easier to fill that way. So I'm going to go ahead and shut off the camera and get to work here. So, there you go. Alright, so I got it all clayed down in place, and I wanted the parting line to be right at the back of the part, below, should I say below? Well, so it's basically one flat surface across the back of the part, and that's also going to help push the air out. If the parting line was in the center of the part, it would definitely be trying to trap air in each and every one of these little grids. The other thing is, I keep losing the metal sprue formers. So I finally decided to CAD model up some and print them in ABS plastic. And that way, anytime I lose these things, I can just go up, print a few more, and be done with it. So we're going to go ahead and add in our horn gate here. I guess we can put that just off to the side of that hole a little bit. And stick it. We'll stick in our sprue former. A little bit of rework here. Trying not to shoot the back of my hand again. I'm sure you love seeing the back of my hand, so we'll try and avoid that. Okay, now it's just going to mix and pour some silicone. So go ahead and get these other pieces ready to take and mold up as well, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, and there's our scarab. I saw where when they had cast this one originally, it looks like its end gate was right here in the buttocks, or whatever part of a scarab that is. So I'm putting it right back in the same place. Alright, time to mix up some silicone and get these guys poured. Okay, here's the one half of our molds poured. Let's see if I can actually get this to pop up. Okay, and I still have this little piece to do, but I'm going to do that in the vulcanizing press because I don't have to worry about damaging it. It's just one little solid chunk of metal, so it won't break on me. Okay, so this little piece I'm going to do a vulcanized rubber mold of. And it's just a lot faster and easier than having to mix and pour silicone. I already cut my mold rubber. That's that right there. Sprue former. Couple acorns out. There was that one. Alright. I'll go ahead and get this on in the press. Okay, what's nice about the press is a mold that usually takes, 24 hours, well, 48 hours to make. Can be done in a little over 2 hours with a vulcanizing press. So, much faster. And time to crack open the molds. I already did the vulcanized mold. They're quick and easy, gotta love that. I need to clean off my workbench. One scarab. Okay, so up here in the wax room now. Oops. And, well, that's the very first one I injected. Easy peasy. No problems. Even got the studs came out on it. So, can't complain about that. That's from using the that horn gate coming in from underneath the pattern. Filling it the way I told you to. Now the interesting thing is on the scarab pattern. I thought this one would be pretty easy to fill. But it is trapping a lot of air in there, and you can see on his wing here, that's actually an air pocket. So I'm going to vent the mold. And this is something I was talking about before, having to do on some of these to get the molds to fill properly. And it's not really anything to it. One thing that you can do is just take a razor knife, and you can see I already did it here, and cut little slots in it to vent the air out, and then you pack them full of talcum powder, and the talc will let the air go through and stop the wax. But the way these are, I mean, you can actually just cut a small V groove all the way to the outside edge of the part. When the wax flows through it, you know, it'll freeze, cool off the wax enough, it'll freeze, block up the hole, but it let all the air out for you. So, alright, I'm going to go ahead and vent this one and shoot up a couple more and get back with you. Alright, so we got our waxes made up. This is our original here that we're copying. It's backing plate wax, scarabs, the little sun at the top of the emblem, and a little something for the wife. These will actually be cast in white bronze, and then the scarab and the sun are going to be cast in brass. Originally it looks like this had a gold plate on it, so that this one, the scarab and the sun would have been gold. This outer ring here would have been chromed. We're going to try and make it look, you know, as original as possible. This is pretty interesting emblem actually, because it's not a production part. This actually looks like it was done by an old school jeweler, and he took like a wire mesh and then wrapped it on the outside edge with metal and soldered it together to make the backing up. It's pretty interesting the way he did it. Not exactly the easiest thing to do either, but definitely unique. So, alright, I'm going to go ahead and start getting stuff here sprued up. A couple things I never really talk about is when I cut my main center sprue, what I'm actually doing with it is I'm cutting it to length and using it for a guide on how far down I can put a part into the flask. So I know that as long as my part doesn't come above the center sprue, I have enough room at the bottom of the flask to keep from having a blowout, which is where your metal flows outside your mold and into your vacuum chamber, which isn't good. Okay. So these guys can sit right on here. Plenty of room. I can actually come above that just a little bit. So get my wax pen here heated up a bit. I really need to clean off the workbench. I'm getting buried in stuff down here, and it's a little leftover piece from this project, a little leftover piece from that project, new projects. And I know I haven't put up anything in the video lately. I was doing a pretty good sized run of parts that was just the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again. I didn't want to bore you guys with that. One thing that I have started to do is I want to increase the size of the parts I can do. Typically I use, this is a 4x6 flask, or 4x7.5 or 4x8. So that's been my standard size flask that I've been using for a few years now. But we're doing an upgrade. That is a 10 by 6. And I can't even get that sucker in the whole camera. There it is. So that is a nice size flask. You can put a good hefty size part in that. And the good hefty size part that I'm going to be putting in that, oh, there's the dogs, is this. It's a model engine block. It's 3D printed. It is complete with water jackets, exhaust passages, intake ports. You know, it's a flathead Ford engine. This is going to be a significant failure, but I'll explain that in the next video. So yes, it's going to fail, and I'll explain why later. Okay, so now the wax pen's nice and warmed up. Knew one of these was a dud. That's the dud. Too much coffee this morning. I only need sometimes like playing operation with this. Don't want to touch the sides. So there's our scarabs sprued up and their little sun globes. Endurance test, endurance test, endurance test. Make sure you do that. They fall off on you when you're taking and pouring the investment. That's just no good. Okay. The other thing, people keep asking, you know, if the investment is porous or not. Guys, it's a vacuum flask. Of course the investment is porous. You know, you're actually drawing a vacuum through the investment powder, sucking the metal into the mold, and it's a phenomenal difference when you cast, the quality of the casting. It's just, you can't beat it. That's the only way to fly in my opinion. If you want it to come out right the first time and you want it to look really nice, use vacuum assist. Okay, so here's our raw castings. Go ahead and get these polished up now. Looks like they came out nice. So, and get them cut off the trees, cleaned up, polished. I'm going to go ahead and paint the background black and assemble these for the guy. I said I wasn't going to, but it kind of defeats the video if you don't show a completely finished product. So I'll go ahead and do it for him. See you, bye. Okay, got them all cast up, and I still have one more polishing step to do to them, but here's the 2 copies, and then here's the original. So, yeah, just got to take them. I'm going to give them one final polish, and then I'm going to clear coat them. So they came out really nice. You guys should be happy with these. So, talk to you later. That's the end of this video.